I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And today we're going to be talking about how to know when they're serious about you.
Okay.
You know, a lot of times when we start dating somebody, they act like they like us a lot. They come on really strong and they make a sincere effort. And then after a while, their interest level drops or their behavior changes and you start to wonder, wait, are they really serious about this or are they just kind of stringing me along?
Yeah.
And you want to kind of be aware of some of the things to look for before you invest too much with somebody new, because if you don't think about these things, you're liable to really throw yourself into it and get hurt.
And when your partner begins to pull away at the 3 or 4 month initial mark, it's very difficult if you haven't sort of been aware that this could happen.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about some of the things that you want to look for or at least consider and think about to figure out if that person is really going to invest in you.
Right, so I want to start out about talking about attachment styles. So attachment styles will definitely affect how somebody shows that they're serious about you. And one thing in particular about the avoidant attachment style, which we talk a lot about attachment theory on our channel, so if you don't really understand what we're talking about, check out those other videos.
I have a whole playlist called Understanding Attachment Styles.
Right. So those with more avoidant attachment styles might be terrified of commitment and might be terrified of the idea of becoming serious. And they start to pull away, even though they might come on strong in the beginning. In fact, we were just talking about this the other day.
Yep.
Because
it's a big one.
Because that connection is innately human. So they do want to connect and they do want to have a relationship, but the actual warm and fuzzy feelings, as Margaret puts it, are the ones that they're terrified of. So you might see somebody with a more avoidant attachment style come on strong, but then later retreat. So I just want you to be aware of that. Whereas people with more anxious attachment styles, it'll be more on the table, their commitment and their level of seriousness with the relationship. So keep these things in mind.
Yeah, you really have to have a good understanding of attachment in order to have a good understanding of what kind of partner you're going to get in the long run. Because in the beginning, like Vicky was saying, people are so excited, even these avoidants will come on very strong and make you feel like you're the only person that's ever mattered to them in their entire life.
Right.
And I've never felt this way before. And then, before you know it, they break up with you. And you're like devastated and confused. So you want to look for different things. You know, one of the things that you're going to think about and consider is how attentive your partner is to you. Are they considerate of your needs, of what you want, and they're having an understanding of the situation beyond with what's going on with them, right? And can they give you their attention? Are they able to, be emotionally attuned to you and, not just, or just be beyond the lust part of it, right? In the beginning, they can do it because of the lust.
And the initial excitement and all that,
So somebody that's really serious about you is going to really show a consistent effort. Not 100% of the time. Nobody's perfect. But consistently, they will show you that they care about you and your needs.
Right. And I think it's also telling when they're concerned about your well-being and your safety and your comfort. So they could make accommodations for you even in small ways. This could be like putting a trash can in the bathroom. It's such a small gesture, but it's really to make sure that you're comfortable and that you're okay. So seeing these signs means that they care for you beyond that lust. They care for you even when you're not at your sexiest. So I think this is also very important to notice. They're not just there for you when their needs are getting met.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. Margaret, maybe you could talk a little bit about when you pay attention to somebody's words and their actions not lining up.
Right. One of the big things that comes up in any kind of therapy, coaching, or anything is we have very confused people saying, he says he loves me, or she says she loves me, but then she's suddenly terribly unavailable. And people will call us and say, well, what do I do? What do I listen to? Do I look at how this person is behaving, or do I look at the words? And unfortunately, the truth of the matter is the behavior speaks louder than the words, okay? So if somebody says, I love you, love you, love you, and can only find 2 days a week to see you, it doesn't add up. And you need to ask your partner about anything that doesn't quite add up, that seems contradictory.
Yeah, and I think one of the behaviors you want to look for is, are they incorporating you into their life?
Right.
Do they introduce you to the people that they care about, their friends and family? Are they hiding you? Now, in the beginning, and you barely know somebody, of course, they're not going to introduce you to everybody because they don't really know about you, and they shouldn't. It takes time to get to know you. But, you know, if you're looking for something meaningful, you want to see that they are slowly, reasonably integrating you, bringing important people in their life to you and you into that world.
Right. And I think it's interesting that you said slowly and reasonably, because it's so easy to jump into the immediacy of being excited in the beginning and getting to know each other way too fast and might be comfortable for most people. So take your time.
Yeah.
So another sign that somebody is serious about you is if they talk about the future. So they might ask, how many kids do you want to have? Or do you want a house with a big backyard? They might ask you a lot of these questions in the beginning, and this just might be telling of their excitement about the relationship. But if they're consistently probing about these questions and curious about what type of a life you would like to have in the future, that's also telling. One caveat here, though, is, as Margaret stated earlier, look at behaviors rather than words.
Right.
Because many people will use a lot of words and a lot of promises that are actually empty. Or, you know, if it is somebody with a more avoidant attachment style, they might come on strong. I do want to move in. I do want to have a house with you. Then once that step actually actualizes, then that fear kicks in.
Yeah, that's when they start freaking out.
And they do freak out.
Yeah, they really do. You're looking to see if they're incorporating you into their life and into their plans, and you're making decisions together, big decisions. Buying, we've seen things with large purchases, homes, and motorcycles or boats or things like that. And then it leaves the other person completely confused. Like, I thought we were talking about this investment or this idea of doing this thing together, and now you're making this wild purchase that completely goes against everything we've been discussing. And that could be a sign that they're not as interested as they said they were.
A flashing sign, as a matter of fact.
So you just want to make sure that they are considering you when they're making big decisions. I've had some calls recently where the person made a large purchase, and they were the person I was talking to were like, we were supposed to move in together when this lease ended, and now they just went and bought this place, and it's like they bought a house and they have a 30-year loan. And then the person's like, yeah, but I could just sell the house. Yeah, okay.
Sure.
You're going to go through the big process of purchasing, moving into a home and all those things, and then just to sell it and move out right away. So obviously their actions and their words weren't lining up, and you want to make sure that whoever you're with is kind of incorporating you into those things.
Right, and it's also a big sign of consideration for the other person, that they're considering how your life would be together if they do consider you into those big decisions. Another big factor is if they prioritize you. So do they make space for you in their life, and do they set aside quality time for the relationship? Of course, there are many different elements in a person's life. We're not saying that you have to be number one all the time. There will be times where work needs to take priority, or family might need to take priority.
Other obligations, yeah.
Exactly. But overall, do they have a sense of your togetherness as being important in their life and something that they want to strive for?
Yeah, and one of the things that came up while you were saying that was, I just gave the example of the guy who bought the house.
Right.
And what was he doing along with buying this house? He had spent a lot of time fishing with his friends all of a sudden, and then this house. So it was like all lining up that he really wasn't considering her for the future.
Right.
Right. It's very important that you're able to maintain those obligations, but at the same time also make compromises when the relationship needs attending to.
Yep.
And so that's a very difficult balance for a lot of people. Another thing is if they're able to make sacrifices for you. So this kind of goes along with that compromise, but commitment in a relationship is not only showing what you'll give to the relationship, but also what you'll give up for the relationship.
Yeah.
So this is not saying you need to give up your friends or those other things that make your life full and happy, but there are sacrifices that you do need to make in order to have a relationship work. There is obviously a time commitment in order to make that connection work, so you'll have to have some good time management in figuring all of that out.
It's so important. That's such a great point, because if the person isn't really willing to give up some of the things that maybe they want to do for you or the health of the relationship, then that selfishness is really going to make you feel like they don't really care about you, you're not really valued, and then you're just going to feel worse and worse about the relationship. So yeah, you want to think about those things, and obviously there are more that you could consider, but we thought these 5 were important to look at when you're trying to figure out how much is this person really invested in me?
Right.
How serious are they about this relationship? And if things start, you know, feeling off balance, like they're being really selfish and they're not really considering your needs or the needs of the relationship, and it's going on consistently, you're only going to feel more hurt, more disrespected, more uncared about, and ultimately it's probably going to wind up in a breakup.
Right.
So you just want to make sure that you're investing somebody who's also investing in you.
Right. And just to wrap this up, think about how you showed your partners that you were serious about them. There might be, you know, certain things that you told them, certain things that you did together, certain hints. You might have even had a conversation about it. So write those down below, and we'd love to hear about how you show commitment and how you tell somebody that you're serious about them. I think it would be really enlightening for everybody to read.
I think so too.
Margaret, anything else
Good
that you
idea.
want to add about maybe family?
Well, yes. Your partner's family and their feeling about you is extremely important. And unfortunately, we see all too often that a family who acts like they like you really doesn't want their person to separate and go off and marry you. They love you when you come for tea, but they may not love you when you're going to want to marry their child and go off to live somewhere else. So you have to be very much aware of what goes on with the family. And any hint that you may get that the family is being nice to your face, but perhaps sabotaging things from behind.
And that happens a lot
All
more
the time.
than you realize. Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully you found this video helpful. And of course, when you want to get our help personally, you can do that on my website, askcraig.net. Sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Margaret is available for Skype coaching.
If you feel that I can be helpful to you, please sign up.
And she's always helpful.
Thank you.
And Coach Victoria will continue to train with us.
I'll be here.
But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon. To get my help personally, go to askcraig.net and click on Schedule Coaching and choose the option that works best for you. I do email coaching or Skype. To schedule a coaching with Margaret, click on Margaret on the top of the page and order a Skype with her. For the Knowledge Creative Healing course, click on the link at the top of the page and click Get Started Now.